What's up, guys? Tim from Eikon Motorsports, and this is gonna be, and I promise you this, my very last video where we ever show or mention or talk about or compare our kit to a competitor's kit. What I have here is a C7 kit by a company called Vertical Doors Inc. We removed this from a vehicle the other day, and it has been on that car for, I believe, a total of about 5 or 6 months, the customer said. And then he sold the car, and the new buyer didn't want the door. So went back to factory. Didn't take it out because there wasn't per se a problem, but we noticed a problem in the literally under 6 months that it was ever on the car. Let's just look at the fact of how beat up and used and old this kit really looks right now. I mean, already 6 months, rust all over the place, oxide at least all over the place. And within 6 months, there's some pretty significant wear and tear. Now, why the wear and tear? We can only kind of speculate, right? And let's speculate together. So it's very difficult by hand to open this on a regular, without a door hanging at the end. But in our attempts to open it, we did discover something pretty significant here, is the rattling. When you trace that down in their main bearing here, there is a tremendous amount of looseness. Now, we tore apart and cut in half to show the guts and the actual internal design of this kind of area right here. But they use a very kind of old style, mimicking a bearing. It's just a hole and then a rod and then some grease. However, in 6 months' time, you see the wear and tear that philosophy or that kind of concept creates or allows to happen. There's just too much play in this, in my opinion. Again, something that just I'm observing here. Now, what could cause that? Well, let's say not being greased. Well, how often do you have to grease it? It doesn't really say. Nobody gives you an exact number of days or months or years that you have to go back and grease. Do you wait until what you hear a sound? Speaking of sounds, listen to some of these sounds that this kit's making, again, with only being on this car for 6 months. So it's just crazy to me that this company has the audacity to post and say the things that they're saying about our kit when we're new. We haven't been doing this for 20 some odd years like they have. So let's talk about some things here. So you've heard me I may have said in some other posts and stuff on our website and on some of the forums and stuff, is with our new design of what we've done, we've became the first and the world's only vertical door kit that is frictionless, or at least on the aftermarket style, that is frictionless. And what that means is, if you look here, you'll see this kind of nub, which is basically a concaved type of bolt or a nut that's driven into the frame of the kit itself. And when this door opens out, it goes up and rests against that nut. That's what kind of gives it its clearance for the door panel not to hit the A-pillar, and also holds it up, with safe distances. But as you can see, the damage and the wear and tear, I'm not necessarily damage, but the wear and tear of what that does over time. And in this situation, 6 months, this kit's only been on a car. And this is the condition of what that looks like. Now, yes, it's a lot less than what ours was, with being the fact that this is a low carbon steel and ours is T6 6061 aluminum. So it does eat faster, or kind of create that trench faster on our kit. That's also one of the really cool things, and what I'm proud of, is that we are constantly innovating. This whole situation is fluid to us, where we take what the customer's feedback is and we actually turn it into something that they actually truly want, and or remove some of the things that is going on that we were either not aware of, or was an oversight on our end. I guess the main point is that we fix and we address all of the concerns or the issues of our actual customers. And that's what I absolutely love about being able to do what we do now. The orientation of why you're looking at what is on the car is, I'm in the driver's seat, I'm looking down, and here's the kit kind of on this side. Now, you have one greaser right there that's supposed to grease this part that goes up and down. But now, this is just really stiff to open. You have 2 grease zerks back here. How in the world do they expect you to get to those after this has been installed in the car? On a C7, let me just walk you through that process. You have to remove the fender. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You will have to remove the fender. Well, what's involved in removing the fender on a C7, you might ask? I'm going to tell you. You have to remove the front bumper. You have to remove the headlights. And you have to remove the fenders. You have to also, before you can remove any of that kind of stuff, you have to remove the side skirts. Like, there is just so much. Like, it is not an easy process to remove the fender on the C7 just to simply grease your kit. Why do you have to grease a kit? Like, it's just, we're in like 2024 now. Why are we still greasing anything? I don't have to grease my wheels on my car, like, ever. I mean, I'm just not, whatever. Anyways, so the fact that you have to go through so much stuff just for simple basic maintenance and just upkeep in a product and a modification is kind of concerning in my opinion. And this was also a concern of ours that was just recently updated. And this is gonna be the first time you guys ever will see this. I'm gonna bring this into view here. This is again, this is the driver's side on our C8 for the shop. Now this is the kit that's been on that car for going on almost a full year and a half now. It came off once to get when we did the shock modification, which there's an update video for that, where we kind of replaced the geometry and changed the design of the geometry of the shock. This came off, but this same kit went back on. We just modified. And that was one of the other things too, is we've purposely modified anything, the few things that have came up from day one of the release of the V1 to now, is all of our solutions and all of our modifications that we've made and improvements that we've made have been specifically improved and to be able to update your current kit that's on your car. You don't need a new one. We don't need a new part, new components maybe. At the heart of the upgrade has been to be able to upgrade your current kit that's on your car to bring it to current standards of the new design, so on and so forth. So when we did that, we put this back on the car. So this one's been on the car for about 1.5 years or so. Now, we did have some issues with what this is right here. This is the bullet. And on our bullet, we discovered that some people, and this design, same kind of thing with their kit, is when you prematurely lift, it's designed to take that impact to prevent, as you see, it's no longer going up. And that's what it's for. But because of the shape, how it's just long, narrow, same size, it doesn't start out big and then go down like theirs does, which theirs is a great design. Ours was flawed in that sense, is some people who were finding this, oh, why is this not going? Let me pull. And then once they bend that bullet, then yeah, your alignment of the door resting against it when it goes up is different. And that's definitely an issue. So we've changed that. And that was actually a big part of what Autumn from Vertical Doors, maybe a few weeks ago or so, about a month ago or so, when we did an install in Salinas, California, she mentioned and she commented on our YouTube video, so thank you for that, because you're the reason and you are what sparked the whole redesign of the bullet itself. And I'm going to introduce you to that now. So for the first time ever, when we say frictionless kit, this is what we mean. Doors open, goes up, and what you notice here is there's a big silver ball right here. And that is a ball. It's moving, and that's designed to rest, for this arm now to rest on that ball. Also giving you the same premature lift prevention, but with a much wider base, so it doesn't bend. It's no issues with that anymore. But it also stops the grooving that you see on the vertical door kits and what you saw on our kits prior to this update. So this is the absolute most updated kit that we have. This is our kind of you're wondering why it's silver, different areas. This is kind of our mock-up prototype of the mock-up of the like, I don't know. This is the kit that we always kind of experiment with. We have a few of these things laying around here. But anyways, the idea behind this was to obviously eliminate the trenching and or the bending of the bullet. So we came up with that, which I think is amazing. We've installed it on the shop C8. It's currently in the body shop right now. Somebody hit the rear end of the car, so there's a scratch that's getting fixed, and I'm not a body guy. So the driver's side has a replacement kit, and that's why I'm able to show you the one that's been on it for 1.5 years, because we replaced it with the new updated version. But I wanted to keep this one off just to kind of show it's going to go on our history wall. So let's also talk our last update, which was the geometry of the shock location, which was the addition of our ball on the top and the ball on the bottom. We did that for kind of two reasons. One is we had a shock mount that was kind of not so much unlike the one that Vertical Doors uses. This is a Vertical Door shock that came with their C7 kit. I don't know if I can spin that up. I mean, I probably could if I really tried, but I'm gonna leave that on. Anyways, we had a design similar to this, or the idea, the concept was similar to this, just machined out of aluminum versus this. Anyways, what was happening with that, as an explanation, is when the door was up in the air and where the height of the door goes, the end of this adapter, if you can imagine, was very, very close to the fender, but it was still behind the fender, so you couldn't get clear access to unbolt it when the door was up in the air. There was no position that you could push it. If you went higher, you're just gonna make contact, and that's obviously not a good thing. So when we decided to, okay, let's go back, same thing, the motivation of the critiques is what always has motivated me to, you know what, I'm not gonna put this on the back burner. Let's get this addressed right now. Let's get this fixed. Let's find the solution. Let's get this on the market as an update and moving forward, so we don't have the issues that we were having with, you know, X amount of kits prior. So in this update, we were able to now give the ball on the top and the bottom, but my main focus was, what's the problem here doing it like this? With the Vertical Door kits, with our previous version of the V1, it's about user friendliness. It's about, like I mentioned before, the maintenance. So I believe that just like your oil, your transmission fluid, your coolant level, things such as that, they shouldn't be in such a difficult place for you, the vehicle owner, to be able to get to check and to either fill or to just to maintain your vehicle. They shouldn't be in a complex area for you to have access to. With that being said, the design on the Vertical Door kits, with how theirs is currently used and how there currently is, and then our previous version of our kits, if your shock ever failed, which eventually they will, and sometimes during manufacturing defects, they do fail quite rapidly sometimes, but it's a very small percentage of those. But nonetheless, in the event that you need a replacement shock, how do you replace your shock? If you can't get to the top bolt that's bolted in on that top, again, that top adapter that's bolted to the arm, the bottom just kind of slides in. On their kit, it just slides in. On our kit, again, ball joint. So bottom was never really an issue. It was just like the top. So we wanted to make sure, okay, ease of use. So let's put, when our door goes up, imagine if we make it to where a customer could replace their shock in under 3 minutes and don't have to remove any part of their car. Let's do that. And so that's what we did. So when our door goes up, we replace we change the geometry of the shock location. So when the door's up in the air, that ball comes out in front of the fender now. So you can pop it off, literally just, I'll show you. This is how that's attached. And there's a lock pin that goes in there. I'm just not gonna put it in here there's no point for the video. But when this is up in the air, okay, it goes like this. Now this whole area right here, this whole area is exposed. So you go up, you pop the bottom off, and then you just pop the top off. Then the shock comes off. You need to put the new one on, okay. Pop it on the bottom. You can move the door up and down, whichever way. You can pop top, bottom, whatever is easier access. Get in there, give it a little tap, give it a little tap on the bottom, and you have a new shock that's on there. Problem freaking solved. And it's so much easier. And you don't have to remove any part of the vehicle to be able to do that. And that was a big importance for us here at Eikon Motorsports, was to, again, ease of use for the consumer. No, you're gonna have to remove the fender every single time you have to replace your shock, which again, you eventually will. None of their kits have an actual bearing, none. Everything, as you see, is, okay, rod and hole, rod and hole, rod and hole, rod and hole. It's all rod and hole. It's all, it's just very tight tolerances to be able to have it fit in. It's not pressed in, it's just fit in loosely, but tight at the same time, if that makes sense. And then let's squeeze some grease into it and call it a joint and call it a ball joint or call it a bearing, whatever you want to call it. So over time, like I said, and you heard the noises, over time you're going to hear the noises, you're going to hear the creaks, and then eventually you get to that point where it's like, at what point did you wear so much of that surrounding material away to where it's now this whole thing becomes unstable? At what point? It's inevitably going to happen. And I'm not saying our design is not ever going to happen that way either, but ours is using materials and components designed for that function forever, like, or for the longest time possible. So we have ball bearings. There's no play in our kit. There's no play anywhere. We have bearings. There's 2 bearings in the main bearing. So the part that goes up and down, that's 2 actual bearings. There's a bearing in here, there's a bearing in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, well, on this one, now 5, and then technically 6 and 7 with the bottom shock mount and the top shock mount. So when this goes up, like everything in movement, every part of this kit that moves is a frictionless movement. There's no friction anymore. It's being moved by a component that's designed for either rotational access or 360 degrees of access or axes or movement, however, whatever terminology you want to use to describe that or to call that. So as you see with the way that their kits are designed, this inside piece right here is just it's a component. This arm goes up to this, they drop it in, they screw it on, and then they weld it on the backside to hold it in place so it doesn't come loose. Great. Great design. You're machining steel, which, again, I was impressed when we cut that apart and we saw that. However, again, this piece is married to their main bearing housing. I'm just calling it that because that's what we call ours. I don't know what they call this piece. The part that goes up and down or that supports the ability to go up and down. Theirs just goes in together and falls into place by hand. They tighten it down, they weld it in the back and put some grease in there and call it a day. That's not how ours is assembled. Ours is assembled, our main bearing housing and our arm component is actually press fit into the main bearing itself. So this bolt doesn't necessarily have to be there. We chose a bolt because a bolt looks better than an ugly weld, first and foremost. And second, it's just for that added security of it's in there, it's locked tight. But we also weld the threads on the backside. So we use a bolt just for that added peace of mind and that added security there. So to kind of recap, I think with the way that their shocks are mounted, they have a shoulder bolt is what they call these things, and it goes through this adapter and sits on like yay, and then gets bolted down to the arm. Now they have, and this is what comes with every kit from them, a hole in this adapter, again, for a place for grease. Now I'm twisting this with my fingers and things are falling out, but again, as you can imagine, steel on steel, right? Let's just say in the event that you didn't grease this, because the grease zerk that they give you, now this is again confusing to me and always has been kind of confusing to me, is it wouldn't take more than maybe a few seconds to tap each of these holes in these components and then screw in a permanent type of an inserted grease zerk. They give you press grease zerks that they want you to hold and then hammer those in on your own in different various locations on their kit. I think that's kind of flawed in my opinion, but nonetheless, that's their standard. Ours, you don't need grease. We have our ball joints that are pre-greased, and you'll never really have to worry about those ever again. And then obviously our sealed bearings, you'll never have to worry about those either. So this, as you can imagine, you get moisture in there, and when that door goes up and down, not only are you hearing the sounds from this making contact with that nut, again, steel on steel, when this rotates as it goes up and down, you get creaking and sounds and squeaks from this too. So it's just over time, this requires a lot more hands-on maintenance to ensure that you don't have the squeaks and you don't have those unwanted noises. So, but to recap, on our new, we are the only kit on the market that's frictionless, rolls against the ball, does not trench or groove the back plate anymore. It's beautiful. I love it. I absolutely am proud of this kit now, where it's at, and it is shipping out literally daily. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, I promise you this is the last video that I'm ever going to, unless mouths don't stay shut on the other side of the pond or the country with them. And if they do, just thank you for the attempts at the or bringing out the areas of improvements that we can make and just further put our kit that much higher in demand. So I thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great day.